I don't even know where to begin this terrifying story. What happened that night just doesn't fit in my head. Since then, my hair has turned gray. Yes, don't be surprised. After what happened, I, a 24-year-old guy, went gray like an old man. This story left me with memories for the rest of my days. Let me start from the very beginning, from that ill-fated evening when I was standing at the station buying a ticket to Chicago. The station was almost empty. Outside, the wind was raging, cutting through my clothes to the bone, so I really didn't want to go outside. Why was I going to Chicago? My grandma lived there, and just a week ago, she died of a heart attack. I hadn't seen her in 3 years, so I didn't know or understand much. Then I got a call with the sad news, apparently from the neighbors. Well, what can you do? I had to go. Otherwise, the neighbors would have buried her without me. I was called because I was the only heir, and I was supposed to get her old apartment on the edge of town. Well, that's the short version. No point in rambling about who I am and why. So, after buying the ticket, I left the station building because my train was already at the platform, waiting for its passengers. Not many, maybe 10 people. I saw people boarding the cars. Probably half of them were just seeing someone off. In general, trains have been a part of my childhood. My mom worked as a train attendant all her life, and I often traveled with her on long trips. I liked the sound of the wheels, the tea and glass holders, the various sweets that the management made the attendants sell. My mom raised me alone. She couldn't leave me by myself. She would leave for 5 days, a week at a time, and there was no one to leave me with, so I traveled with her. So it happened that my mom spent her whole life working on the railroad, and that's where her life ended. I was 17 then. According to eyewitnesses and later the police, it was an accident. My mom was climbing into the train car. The train suddenly moved. She lost her grip and fell. I don't know exactly how, but she was killed instantly. A terrible death. Whenever I board a train, I always remember my mom. It was the same that time. I got on the train and walked down the aisle looking for my seat. Number 21, the upper bunk. By the way, it was a coach car, and I had almost a day to travel. The train didn't wait long. As soon as I found my seat, it started moving. There were very few people in the car, almost empty, which was good. At least I could walk to the restroom without stepping over someone's smelly feet. No snoring all night or drunk chatter. Though, who knows, maybe more passengers would get on later, but for now, everything was calm. I didn't feel like sleeping. I'd had coffee at the station, sat at the table, and just stared out the window at the black silhouettes of trees rushing by. The sound of the wheels echoed in my ears and was like music to me. I didn't even want to take out my headphones. Not that it mattered. As the train moved farther from my small town, the internet and cell service faded away, so staring out the window was the best option. About 20 minutes later, a young attendant came up to me, brought me bedding, and offered me some tea. Of course, I didn't refuse. While she was making the tea, I grabbed a cigarette and staggered off to the vestibule. On my way there, I realized there were 5 other people in the car. 2 old ladies, a young guy, and apparently a husband and wife, both pretty heavy-set. The guy was already dozing. One old lady was staring out the window, and the new couple started unpacking food and setting up a meal. The smell, honestly, wasn't great. I went to the vestibule, lit a cigarette, and noticed something odd. The door to the next car was open. I looked through it and saw the car was empty. The lights weren't even on. Weird. Why attach it then? Maybe it's needed in Chicago, or maybe more passengers would get on later. I calmed myself down. I finished my cigarette, opened the car door to toss the butt, and caught a glimpse of a figure, looked like a person, quickly darting into the darkness from the restroom area. So fast, I couldn't even process it. I stood there, staring out the window, cigarette butt in hand. Did I hear something? No, just someone running by. Maybe the attendant forgot something. But why ride with the lights off? Maybe they're saving power. I tossed the butt and went back to my seat. Maybe they're saving power in our car, too. The light was so dim that if it were off completely, I wouldn't have noticed much difference. I drank my tea, warmed up, stared out the window a bit more, and started to doze off when the attendant came up and woke me. "Don't sleep, young man," she said, almost scolding me. "Why not?" "Well, you can't sleep now. We'll pass a certain place and then you can lie down. But not yet." "Are you okay, miss?" She really did look worried. "Yes, I'm fine. What place are we passing?" "A dry place," she whispered, straightening her shirt, and walked down the aisle, apparently warning the others. I stopped her. "Miss, can I ask another question?" "Sure, go ahead." "What's with the next car? Are they saving power or something?" "Yeah," she replied. "So, is it just empty and dark? Maybe they're already asleep?" But something was clearly off. Maybe she was just tired. But I noticed the attendant looked nothing like she did when I boarded the train. She was clearly anxious, and pretty badly. Like I said, she walked down the car. I watched her closely. After talking to the other passengers, she opened the vestibule door and left, probably to another car, judging by the laughter and conversation from the end of the train. No one took her words seriously, including me. Big mistake. After sitting for about 10 minutes and not seeing the attendant come back, I started to doze off again. What happened next, I'll try to describe. I fell asleep and woke up, it seemed, 3 or 3.5 hours later. Next to me, on the neighboring bunk, someone was lying down. I peeked out of my compartment. The car wasn't packed, but there were people on the bunks. Dead silence, only the sound of the wheels and the wind howling outside. I thought maybe more passengers got on at a station. Then I heard the person on the next bunk whispering, curled up, facing the wall, whispering. I thought, whatever, people have their quirks. Suddenly, he turned toward me, and I doubted he was even human. I doubted it because only his upper body turned toward me, while his legs stayed put, and the sheet covering him started to slowly turn red. The face looked normal, but I felt like this was a damned corpse. I woke up instantly, all sleepiness gone. I grabbed my bag and ran to the end of the car. I realized I was caught in some kind of hell. There's no other way to explain what was happening in that cursed car. On the bunks weren't people, but something strange was happening with them. The old lady and the man were spinning around under the sheets. Their mouths opened so wide, no living person could do that. I got chills. My head started spinning, and on almost every bunk, some kind of horror was going on. But the worst was ahead. I quietly walked to the vestibule, opened the door, turned back, and was stunned. The car was changing before my eyes, rusting, bunks collapsing with the passengers, the linoleum on the floor cracking and curling up. But that was nothing compared to what was at the other end of the car. It looked like a person, but it wasn't. That was clear. It was naked, like a doll. Incredibly frightening. I couldn't really see its face. Maybe it didn't even have one. Its neck was twisted to the side, and the worst part was its hands. Each had 3 or 4 fingers, each about 2 feet long, hanging down to the floor. I was seized with wild terror. Hoping it was just a dream, I slapped myself, but it wasn't. It was a damned reality. Some kind of parallel world. I couldn't understand anything. I stood in the vestibule for a few minutes, and then that thing rushed from the other end of the car straight at me in seconds. I thought I'd faint from fear. I wish I had, but I didn't. It jumped at the glass door, pressing its 2-foot-long fingers against it, staring at me. I was shaking, my heart pounding like a jackhammer. It stared at me, looking me over like a piece of meat. I stood there for about 10 seconds, then it started banging on the glass, and the door closed. It couldn't get to me. But when it started trying to break the glass and the door, I remembered the emergency brake. I pulled it, immediately heard the screech of the wheels, and felt the speed dropping. Without thinking, I opened the car door and jumped out. Thank God for physics. I jumped from the train, ran forward to avoid falling, hurt my legs, but luckily didn't break anything. I ran a bit, and the train stopped. I ran for my life, not thinking about the apartment or my bag left behind. I just wanted to get as far away from that damn train as possible. I must have run about 1,000 feet and saw lights in the distance. Looked like a small town or a farm. I don't know, little lights shining far off. Between me and those lights, it seemed like a short distance, but in reality, it was miles with patches of woods. I ran for a long time, but after maybe 20 minutes, I collapsed on the ground and dozed off. I woke up in the morning when some old man woke me up with an old raccoon on his shoulder and worn-out clothes. "Hey, kid, what are you doing lying here? You can't sleep here," he said, like he'd hit me over the head. I jumped up. "My name's Clem. And you?" "Where'd you come from, looking all fancy?" He laughed. I ran from the train." "What the hell? Why can't you sleep here? What's this place?" Panic was rising in my mind. The old man changed his face. "Did you see them?" "See who?" "The demons." I just nodded silently. "Come on, follow me and don't fall behind. You never know what could happen." I followed him. "This place isn't good," he muttered. "I live here, and not just me." "What is this place?" "Recently, some real bad stuff started happening here. I don't know why, but something's here. You can't sleep in these parts. Not at home, not on the train, not outside. They come for the sleeping because they're weak. Weak will, weak mind. But when a person sleeps... 3 days ago in our town, 2 people disappeared. One was a pianist, had long fingers you should have seen. I was thinking, yeah, I saw him. He liked to come out and watch the trains. Definitely saw him. It's awful. What's going on here?" "Clem, how do you not sleep then?" "You can only sleep early in the morning, and not for long. Drink lots of coffee, and don't relax." So we got to his house. "Come on, let's eat. You hungry?" "Yeah, I wouldn't mind." "Well, come on." "Clem, so I guess I saw your pianist last night." "Yeah, they took him a few days ago. Got drunk and fell asleep." I was shocked. He talked about it so calmly, like this kind of hell happens every day. We got to an old house. Come in. Be my guest." He went to the stove, got out some good smoked bacon, cut me a slice of bread, poured a full glass of cloudy moonshine. "Eat, and you can go sleep. I'll wake you in an hour or two and tell you everything. And believe me, I've got stories to tell." After drinking the moonshine and eating the bacon, I lay down on the old spring bed and passed out. That's the only time you can sleep, as Clem told me.